Jaws will eat you for lunch in the first 5 seconds. You don't have a prayer. I'll show you why, fellow storytellers. Let's go mining for gold in the movies. Let's get small here. You ready? And we'll just jump right on it. Yeah, name that tune. I would have said that if it wasn't in the thumbnail, but it's certainly Jaws, or the theme song for Jaws. So there's three things right off the bat, right here in the beginning, the first 5 seconds that Mr. Spielberg made in this wonderful film, Jaws. But there are three things important about it. And number one, of course, is that, the title. And it's, amazing title. One word, which says it all. Really hard to do. Of course, he didn't make up the title. Peter Benchley, who wrote the book, did. But he also wrote the screenplay, by the way, Peter Benchley. But it's a fabulous title, Jaws. It's efficient, says a lot, and, makes you curious, makes you want to watch what's going to happen. It also is a little bit ominous, and it's reflective of what we see right here, which is we're underwater. We're actually having the shark's POV, the point of view of the shark, the big fish, right? We don't know that yet, but movie called Jaws, and you're underwater. Kind of creepy. So that's two things. And number three, the most important thing about this first 5 seconds of the film is, in my opinion, definitely the music. John Williams just nails it, right? And it starts right off the bat with a din 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 din, which is hilarious. It's this, I think I read about or saw a little clip of Spielberg talking about when he had John Williams come in with the music. He thought it'd be some sort of like bubbly, mystical, underwater kind of music that would start the film off. And Williams was like, no way. He sits down at the piano and he just does two keys. Din, 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 din. Ominous. Yes. And first Spielberg was like, what? Two keys? And then he's like, get it. And guess what? It works. It is the shark's music. And every time we hear it, we know something bad is going to happen. Okay, without further ado, let's dive into this. I have to put on headphones because otherwise you're going to get like reverb or echo or something like that. But let's just see what happens. Oh, there's the music by John Williams. Yes. And there you go. Peter Benchley wrote the book. It says it right there. Right there. Peter Benchley wrote the book, and I'll move this thing down so you can see it, which is called Jaws, of course. And I definitely recommend reading it on the beach. Of course, you'll never go in the water again, or on that day anyway. But it's a great read. It's a little more sexy than the movie, so it's not so family friendly. Well, this is a monster movie, but it's a good book. And trivia note, somewhere, I think it's 40 minutes into the movie, there's a reporter walking on the beach interviewing shark-scared beachgoers, I guess, and he's got big glasses on, and that is Peter Benchley. Okay, that's just trivia note. But let's keep going, and of course, it's Spielberg's greatest film, in my opinion. He's made a few really great films and a few challenging films, but he's easily one of our most prolific and probably most famous directors. And we start off with this guy who is not going to be in the rest of the movie, but he'll be in this little sequence here. And he has a haircut like I used to have back in the mid-'70s. He's smoking his Red Dog, a Marlboro, and drinking a Falstaff beer, it looks like, which I don't think exists anymore. It's out of Rhode Island. But the bottom line is he's at a beach party. They're hanging out, and he's checking out this girl, right? Oh, where is she? Right there. Check out her hair, that wig, because that's all that's going to be left of her. Spoiler alert, in a few moments, and maybe her hand. But that's the first time he sees her, right? Oh yeah. So he's going to go over and say, hey, what's going on? Let's just fast forward to that really quickly. Say, hey, what are you doing? And see, that's the party. By the way, I'll just make myself minimize because this is important. See that thing right there? That is a keg of beer. Most of you probably know that. I think they actually still have them, but in the 70s they were very popular. Keggers, But that's important. I'll come back to that because that's what he's drinking, that Falstaff thing. I said earlier, Falstaff beer. So you can't actually hear what they say, but basically she's like, come on, let's go. And this is actually important right here. What's he say? Right around here.
What's your name again?
What's your name again? And what does that mean, you guys? It's super important. In fact, let's make me smaller again because I'm in the way. There you go. What's your name again? That means this dude does not know her. And why is that important? Because, in storytelling, because if he knows her, if it's his, love of his life, even if it's love at first sight, but mainly if it's love of his life, his soulmate, or even like his sister, somebody he actually cares about, or a good friend, it's going to be a problem the next day because she's about to get munched. And if she gets munched by this shark and he, cares, he's going to be a problem the next day. He's going to be a nuisance. It's going to be complicated to deal with this character because he's going to be freaking out, right? But now he doesn't know her. There's no emotional involvement. So if she gets chomped, which she will, he won't care. Well, he'll care a little bit, but it won't be an emotional disaster for him. He'll just be like, gosh, what happened to her? But it's really important that he doesn't know her. So that one little line is actually really important. What's your name? Meaning, I don't know you.
Chrissy.
And of course, it's Chrissy. So then the next important thing, right there. What did he just do? See that, you guys? Yeah. Boom. Oh, wait, there it is. Boom. Okay. If you didn't think he was drunk, like I just showed you in the metal keg back there where he's drinking his beer and smoking his Red Dog, he stumbles. And she might be a bit tipsy too, but she's very athletic, very agile, and he's definitely hammered. He is stumbling after her, literally. That is stumbling. You ever heard the term stumbling drunk? That's him. He is stumbling drunk. Why is that important, you guys? Why is it so important that he's drunk? I think he actually says it right here. Ready?
Slow down.
No, wait.
I'm not drunk.
There you go. Okay. I'm not drunk. So what's he saying to you guys, to me in the audience, the eyeballs in the dark? He's saying, I'm drunk. I'm not drunk. It means, of course, I'm drunk. As he stumbles after her with his hands in the air like this, he's hammered. And that's really important for one main reason. And we need to know this. Why? Why doesn't he go in the water in about 1 minute with her when she goes swimming out and gets munched by the shark? Why? Because he's drunk. Because he passes out. The one believable, reasonable thing he could do that would make us, the audience, the eyeballs in the dark, believe that he's not going to help her. And he doesn't know that she's dying. So he can't run and call the police that night or anything, or Captain Quint. Nope. He's going to pass out. It's absolutely perfect, good filmmaking, very efficient. He's chasing her. He's like, slow down. And she's just having fun. She's about to take her clothes off. They're going to go skinny dipping. But back to being drunk. It's actually more about the alternatives. Your first intuition when you come to a crossroad, when you're writing a screenplay or telling a story that's fiction, is sometimes there's alternatives, different things you could do, right? So the big question here, the big alternative is, how do you get her in the water, right? So actually, if you go back here, let's see, all the way back to this thing, there she is right there. She could just get up and go in the water right there, right? She could do that. What would happen? What would be different about the entire film if she swam right here and she goes out and she starts screaming, shark, shark, and she gets munched? What are all these people going to do? Probably they're all going to line up here. Maybe that guy or this guy or that girl are going to jump in and go help her. If they do, they get munched too. Maybe he'd help her. He'd get munched too. But the bottom line, you have a whole bunch of witnesses screaming and yelling. And again, complicating the story, because how do you then deal with the next day with Chief Brody with all these people witnessing it? And would it be as creepy and as heartfelt? It's much more efficient to have two strangers like this chasing each other. And it's funny. I mean, watch this. Again, he stumbles right here. Where's the last one? Oh, before she goes in the water. Right here. So she's taking off her top.
Whoa! Hold up! What?
So, and he stumbles. In case you didn't know he was drunk, or figured out after he yells, I'm not drunk, and stumbles once before. Now he's actually got his shirt up over his head, which is comical, the comedy before the storm. And he rolls down the sand dune and, fortunately didn't knock himself out yet. But she, meanwhile, does this beautiful shot which is right here. And Spielberg just nails it, by the way. I don't know if you guys have ever been on the beach or the water when the moon is out and you get that the moonbeam, the moon path towards the beach. Just phenomenal, and what a great shot. And again, it's either this, and you have the party with all the people here watching this maybe, or they're all jumping in and So quickly back to that thing. If they all go in, let's say, oh, let's all go skinny dipping, then it's a blood fest, when the shark comes and takes out 5 people, 14 people, arms and blood going everywhere. You don't want that. That's way too, first of all, horrific, but also complicated. This is much more efficient and creepy, and it's a solo mission. She's going out alone, which I think we can all relate to more. She's out there alone. And if he follows the same thing, we don't relate as much. It's much more creepy if she's out there alone, especially when the shark spots her, which happens, right here. Let's just do the fast forward. Here he is passing out, and he actually says, for the last time, in case you don't get it,
Swim? Just can't walk.
Okay, he finally admits it. I can swim, meaning I'm not drunk. I just can't walk. So now he's actually admitting that he's drunk. I just can't walk, and now he's going to pass out. He's going to be all super peaceful and wonderful. And meanwhile, we have her final moments on this fictional Earth.
Come on in the water!
Which, that voice, come on in the water, is maybe another motivation, another reason for him not to go in the water when he hears that voice screeching over the water. Maybe I'm wrong about this. But actually, he's going to pass out.
Take it easy.
Take it easy, right? And that's the last of him. He's going to sleep. Meanwhile, back to the very beginning when we're underwater. Now, we see this shark's POV, and she looks basically like a mermaid up there. Lunch! But actually, probably the shark is going parallel right now. Maybe he hasn't even seen her, They have eyeballs in their heads, so maybe he's looking up. I don't know, but it's definitely... again, it's the John Williams mystical music that Spielberg probably requested or did request initially before the dun 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 dun. So listen to this. See how it's sort of like bubbly? Beautiful. And again, another amazing shot, again, from the shark's POV, right? And so then we go back to the, her final moment and our friend, the buoy, the beacon of safety, something man-made out there in the water that she might have to try to get to. And again, she's alone. The feeling here is ominous, but beautiful. You're hoping nothing's going to happen. And it would be actually kind of interesting because now we know something's going to happen by this shot, by the way. It's like, oh my God, she is done. She's toast. But if you go back to this, or even here, let's just say, as an alternative, what if the shark passes her by? Just kind of looks and that's it. It would still be creepy. Like it could cut to the next day and there's another shark attack later or something. But if you don't start with a shark attack but a near miss, it could be equally creepy. But this is the classic and this definitely works. But it's just, I'm saying there are alternatives that work. And that's where the music changes. Now we got the din, 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 right? So instead of going this way, the shark is going this way. You ever see the movie poster with like the teeth? He's going up because he's going towards her and he's about to tug on her, right? And that's where you get this wonderful little sequence right here. Her last fraction of a second on Earth, she's smiling. And then the initial tug. Boom. And again, efficient, great filmmaking by Spielberg. Thank you, Stephen. And then she goes under. And that's it. Isn't that amazing? You don't see teeth come up and grab her, blood going everywhere. No. Just tug and then pull her under. Because we know with that first tug, holy moly, it's not good. And then she goes under. And again, here's another alternative. The movie can end right here. Or not the movie, the scene, the sequence. And you go to the next day and meet Chief Brody. And we would know she was done. But it is a bit of a horror movie. And I grudgingly admit, I think it's actually fun to have 25 seconds of torture for this poor girl. We have to watch her. And there's also a reason for that. It shows how big this thing is and how scary it is. But again, Spielberg's smart here because he does not show the shark. Right? So she comes up again. and she gets taken for a ride, literally taken for a ride. So we know it is something massive and, you know, obviously a shark. It's not an octopus or a barracuda or a seal or something. This is something that's gotten a hold of her, and she is freaking out. It's back and forth, and then she really needs some help, and not going to be from this guy. He's sleeping on the beach. Oh my God. Peace and quiet. So it's a little bit of like calm before the storm again on the beach, but it's just to show to us that he's sleeping, and we believe it. So we're not like, why isn't he helping her? Why isn't he helping her? Oh, he's drunk. He's passed out. We understand. Got it? Yes. So she's freaking. And then she has one moment of hope, which I love, is right there. So he smashes her into the buoy, our friend, the buoy. And we're thinking, oh my God, pull yourself up. You know, you don't want to see what's happened below her, trust me, but she's still with it. Maybe she can just, you know, grab up to that bell and pull herself out of the water and get away from that shark. Nope. And that's where, again, Spielberg's masterful. He gives her a glimmer, a fraction of hope, and then boom. And she is done. And again, just like the 25 seconds ago when she went under the water the first time after the initial tug. She's gone. And that's it. And now life goes back into balance. Right? Quiet. There he is sleeping on the beach. We get it. He didn't hear her. Now there's one thing I'm going to point out. And, well, first let's just go see her. Actually, let's just stay here. Because we don't see her. We just see the buoy and the beautiful moonlight sparkling on the water. But basically, the last thing I want to point out before we stop here is that this dude is sleeping, and we understand he's passed out. Now, I'm going to show you one last clip in a second just to prove my point. But there are, even in classic films, sometimes there are little holes, sometimes big holes, you know, which means something where you and the audience go like, no way, you know, why'd they go in the basement, that kind of thing. This is a very small one, but what we see here is this dude sleeping, right? He never saw, well, he saw her go in the water, but that's it, right? But he's sleeping. So when he wakes up, you know, it could be now, it could be when the sun rises completely in a couple hours. She's not there. Is he going to think she drowned right off the bat? Probably not. If, in reality, he's probably, you know, he might think that, but he also might think she went home. Because that's the logical thing, because he doesn't know her, right? It's not his girlfriend. She doesn't care about him. He's a nobody. So he didn't follow her in the water, so she might have been annoyed. You know, they were supposed to go skinny dipping, make love, whatever, out in the water. He just passed out. She's like, screw him, and she went home. So what's the solution? How do you make it so that he actually, when he wakes up, it's believable that he would call Chief Brody? Because that's the most important thing. That's why he has to be there, because we need a witness. We need to get Chief Brody down on the beach. You know, we need to get her in the water and eaten, but we need to know about it. And the only way you can do that is with a witness. But he didn't witness her, and except for that he saw her go in the water. So he didn't witness the shark attack. So there's no way he can say, hey, it's a shark attack. He can say he thinks she drowned, which we're going to find out in a second. But actually, he would probably, and I think Chief Brody, in the same manner, would probably say the same thing. No way. You know, she blew you off. She's just, you know, came in and went home. But what's the solution for that? How do you change that so it actually works with just a fraction of a twist of the storytelling? You put her clothes right here, or right here, because she's taking her clothes off, right? It's fine she flings them in the dunes and stuff on the way down, but actually she could just carry them. In fact, we don't see her. If you go back really quickly, oh God, she's getting munched. When she runs in the water, we actually don't see her take her pants off, which is another small glitch, but because she has her pants on right here, right? She takes her shirt off, but here she runs right into the water, and it takes a second to take your pants off. But the bottom line is, if she'd taken them off, even, you know, forget about the timing, it all works. And this is just me being, you know, nerdy or too picky. But the bottom line is, if she takes her pants and she's holding them and throws them right there, later on, when this dude wakes up after she gets munched, and where was it? Right here before the beautiful Chief Brody scene. Yeah, he finds her pants. Then my huge long point. He says, oh my God, she drowned. Her pants are here because she would not get out of the water and walk naked into town. She would go find her clothes and get dressed, right? So it makes sense if he has her clothes or he sees her clothes. Then it works. But again, it works fine anyway. We don't notice. It's, again, me being a screenwriter, being picky. I'm not going to show this sequence here. It's a great sequence, but we don't have time for that. We're just going to go back to Chief Brody, the initial introduction, driving out to the beach. God, I was out on the island where they shot this movie way back when. I wish I had a picture of me right there in front of that poster. Oh my God. Talk about that another time. Anyway, here's the scene I got to show you right here.
And nobody saw her go into the water?
Somebody could have.
So nobody saw her go in the water. Somebody could have, i.e. you. So anybody could have. And then he says basically,
Out. You mean she ran out on you?
yeah, there you go. So that's what the police officer should say. Actually, when he calls him on the phone earlier, it's like, she ran out on you. Why would he, both of these people think that she drowned if there was no clothes on the beach? But here, just to confirm it one more time, it's right here, I think it is.
She must have drowned.
Yeah, she must have drowned. And that's why he called the cops. And again, we don't notice it. We're like, oh yeah, she must have drowned. But he actually, in reality, in human terms, he would not have thought she drowned, I believe. He would have thought she ran out on him, just like Chief Brody said. In fact, he's the cop. He should say that. I'm not wasting my time down here. She's, let's go look in town and see if we can find her or find out what her name was, Chrissy something or other. Anyway, it's just nitpicky, me being nitpicky, but it's about storytelling. And this is fun. It's a classic movie, so it's funny to find a little tiny glitch like that. And just to finish up with this little sequence here, just because it's so well done, this whole movie's well done. They have been walking on the beach, and this is where Chief Brody basically says, I'm from New York City. Because this guy's an islander, meaning he grew up on Amity Island, which is actually Martha's Vineyard, where this film is shot, off of Massachusetts. But the reality is he's from New York City, which is a classic filmmaking term called a fish out of water, meaning he doesn't know nothing about the ocean, and he's about to. And sharks, oh my God. He doesn't want to go out there, but he's going to be forced to. And suddenly there's a whistle, so they go charging off down the beach, and now we, the eyeballs in the dark, the audience, are freaking out because, oh my God, there's something wrong. This cop is crying. These guys are running. Of course, Chief Brody stops this Islander kid from looking because he's the big guy, he's the cop, and he's got to go over and look at Chrissy. And like I said earlier, all that's left of her is that big wig, that hair, and her hand. And thank you, Stephen, for the horror. Crabs. Even if crabs don't actually munch on people, who knows? But it makes it more creepy for sure, more memorable. The crabs are eating her hair and her hand. It's horrifying to look at, as you can see. And fabulous little final shot here. The directorial from Spielberg. Now, Mr. Schneider, please look out at the ocean like there's something out there, and that's what he does. He's not looking at seagulls. He's looking out there. What could do this? What could cause this? And that's, a couple minutes into this fabulous film. So if you guys are interested in hearing any more about this Jaws, we're breaking it down. I could do this all day long, so just please put your comment or put a thumbs up in the comments or something. I'll continue. But it's been a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see what happens. And see you next time at Saturday Night Netflix. California Dreamin'.